I remember that the Guyana had an embassy for North Korea. And they sent a representative here wanting to find out whether St. Vincent and the Grenadines want to establish, because I think the Prime Minister, Sir Vincent Beach and so on, they were interested in South Korea, not North Korea. And believe it or not, I don't know which organization was affiliated with something in Guyana, but some Vincentians actually went to North Korea, including one of your very good friends.
Really?
Well, I call Wanza.
Oh.
So I remember that quite well, that they were making some overtures, you know, to get in, but of course the basic three countries, Canada, the United States and Britain, they were up front.
The main players. So Louis, you have the distinction of being the longest serving foreign minister in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What have been some of the principles that guide the development of this country's diplomatic strategy?
Well, let me say that I agree with Burns and Mr. Denny, or Professor Denny, saying that diplomacy really is the art and the practice of conducting relations between states. And our diplomacy has evolved over the years. We were aligned and had diplomatic relations with a few countries. But as time went on, we had to extend diplomacy with more countries in the world. And as we become what is said now as a global world, a global marketplace, we had to touch base with countries practically in every country in the world. Today, we are recognized. We have diplomatic relations with about 150 countries. And we had to do that because we realized that even though we are an independent country, we gained our independence in 1979. We realized that as we move into the modern world, it is not so much independence in an absolute sense, but it becomes an interdependent world, because no country really is truly independent. We don't have the material resources or personnel that we are sufficient unto ourselves. So we had to reach out to other countries in order to lift our country up. St. Vincent became a nation. And at that time, you had very few small island states, countries, because we didn't have the wherewithal to carry on in a global marketplace with the larger countries of the world. So we had to make sure that we strategically follow a path that would lead to our development economically. And we wanted to use our diplomacy as a means of having investment come into our country and building up our country. So you would find that not only we had diplomatic relations within the United Nations, but we became members of a large number of other organizations which form a concentric circle. The United Nations, we have the Organization of American States, we have CARICOM, which was formed, I believe, in 1973, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas in 1991, I think. We have the OECS, we're a member of the Association of Caribbean States, we're a member of the ACP. So within all these organizations, it formed a concentric cycle. We had to find our way and be part of that to network and shoulder to shoulder with the other nations, so that we can find our place in the world, because we are a small country and we have no resource, no natural resource to give to those countries. But we want to make sure that we can sit at the table. And as long as we had a vote at the United Nations, because in the General Assembly, every country has a vote and the vote is equal. And we have advanced or evolved to the point where we could sit in the most elite council of the United Nations, which is the Security Council, and be president, as we were last November, of the Security Council, which had the biggest countries, the most powerful countries in the world. And today we are recognized, not only did we sit on the Security Council, but we are president of CELAC now, which is a more recent organization. So our diplomacy has evolved, and we are a striving and we are a vibrant country. We are known throughout the world because of the diplomatic contacts that we have made. It's so much so that some people say we are punching above our weight. We are punching because we are small countries. Yeah. When I sat in a meeting with the African, Caribbean, Pacific, and the European Union, and we were taking on Zimbabwe under its former leader. And we had some controversy there, and I had to make a speech. One of the Zimbabweans said, well, tell me, your country, how many people you have in your country? And I said, I have 110,000. He said, man, we have more cattle in Zimbabwe than... So we are a small country, but we must carry a powerful voice. And our diplomacy is established not only by the politicians here, because every politician, every member of government, I should say, who travels abroad, he represents his country. He has to engage in diplomatic relations with these other countries. And our diplomats abroad, Burns and others, would have to make the contacts there and show who St. Vincent, what St. Vincent is really about, who we are, and in order to form our way, get a niche in this world community.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll hear from Ambassador Bowman, who of course is the ambassador to the Republic of China on Taiwan, which is one of our, if not our most long-standing diplomatic partner. We'll be back in just a moment.
Play for.
Here's your chance to win even more from the National Lotteries Authority when you play for 2 times daily. Choose phone numbers from 0 to 9 and you can win up to $5,000 with a $1 inline bet.
Play sport and back it up too. That's right. There'll be lots of cash waiting for you.
Get your tickets Monday to Saturday for the Play 4 midday draw at 1:50 p.m. and the Play 4 night draw 9 p.m. So easy
Play
to play.
For, you'll win even more.
You can increase your chances of winning the Super 6 jackpot with a combo play. Remember, Super 6 numbers are from 1 to 28. Choose any 5 Super 6 numbers. That's a combo 5 for $69. Match any 5 of the 6 numbers and you will win the jackpot. Choose 7 Super 6 numbers for $21. Match any 6 of the 7 numbers and win the jackpot. There's more. Combo 8, where you purchase 8 Super 6 numbers for $84. Match any 6 of the 8 numbers and you will win the jackpot. There are also Combo 3 and Combo 4 Super 6 plays. Visit the NLA headquarters in Pauls Avenue or WhatsApp 495-6886 for more details. Super 6, bigger jackpots, more chances to win.
Ambassador Bowman, you are based in Taiwan. You are actually our first resident ambassador to Taiwan. Let's talk a little bit about the early beginnings in terms of this particular relationship and its importance to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Madam Moderator, I didn't hear you very clearly, but I heard you say something about the early beginnings. I could speak about the beginnings of our embassy here in Taiwan. which we opened in 2019. So we are celebrating our 4th anniversary of having our embassy here in Taiwan. But I just want to step back a little to when I heard Burns mention the, maybe we can say, overtures to North Korea. As it is now, I am the non-resident ambassador to South Korea, as well as the non-resident ambassador to Japan. So St. Vincent the Grenadines has traveled some way with regard to establishing itself in this part of the world. As I said, I didn't really hear your full question, so I don't know if you could repeat. It had to do with the
importance of that diplomatic relationship with Taiwan, or between Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What or how important is this?
Extremely important. Not just because of the length of time, but because of what I honestly believe is the friendship. I go back to Michael's initial quotation about having interest as opposed to friends. And that is something that I have commented on and in a way confronted already with regard to our relationship, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' relationship with Taiwan. And when I say friendship, what I mean is that the people-to-people relationships that have been established between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Taiwan over these 42 years, those relationships are real. They are real relationships. And I'll tell you, I can just give you one anecdote, I think, which is indicative of the depth of that relationship. 2 years ago, we celebrated our 40th anniversary of our diplomatic relationship with Taiwan. And we put out a logo. We had a logo and a slogan competition. We put it out to all Vincentians so that we can use this logo and slogan as emblematic of, this 40-year relationship. That the young ladies, 2 young ladies who won both the logo and slogan competition had never been to Taiwan. At that time, they were 19 and 21 years of age. And you should see the construct that they came up with. And the actual slogan that they came up with was friendship, freedom, and prosperity. I'm looking at the logo right here in my office now. Now, these young girls grew up with Taiwan, as it were. When I say they grew up with Taiwan, what I mean is since 2007, Taiwan has contributed in no small measure to the funding of the education of our students in St. Vincent the Grenadines at the primary, secondary, and tertiary level. There is an annual fund which is given to the Ministry of Education for distribution at the different schools. And this fund, as I say, funds students' transportation, books, and meals at school. Now, this has been happening since 2007. The amount initially was 100,000 US dollars. It increased in 2017 to 200,000 US dollars. So think of the time that this has existed, think of the size of St. Vincent the Grenadines, and you would recognize the impact it has already had on the number of Vincentians over the time, okay? When you impact and you reach people through their children, through education in particular, you are making, you have an indelible impact. Now that is at that level. And then of course we have our MOFOS scholarships, we have our ICDF scholarships. Those started in 2004. Since then, we have had approximately 235 graduates, Vincentian graduates from that program. So I've only focused there on education, and we don't have to ask why, but we also have Taiwan's input in our agriculture, in our health, and in our technology. And these have very, very deep roots. The Taiwanese Technical Mission actually established itself in St. Vincent the Grenadines before we actually had an embassy per se. in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So the technical mission is very well grounded and rooted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it is now. And then our the reach of the Taiwanese medical groups in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is very deep-seated. Okay? So I can stop there for the time being.
Okay, so I would like to hear from everybody on this particular question. Has this relationship between Taiwan been a mutually beneficial one?
Of course, there is no relationship that has been as productive or beneficial to St. Vincent as the relationship with Taiwan. I am a strong advocate of this relationship. For years, I've been saying that we should have an embassy in Taiwan. I lobbied for this in the cabinet. And finally, when we decided, yes, we're going to open an embassy, I thought of the best person that we could put there as our ambassador, who would really represent St. Vincent right. And it was fortunate that Andrea Bowman was just retired from the Girls' High School and was at home doing nothing. So I thought I would tap on her to be our ambassador, and she gladly accepted. And we were fortunate in having somebody of the caliber of Andrea Bowman as our ambassador there. There is no sector in our economy, no aspect of our economy that has not been benefited by this relationship. We have had overtures, or I have had overtures from mainland China, and the Prime Minister has had, because I was at the United Nations with him. But we are satisfied that this is a beneficial relationship. When we first went to Cuba, I believe in 2002, Castro asked, why are we still holding on to Taiwan? Prime Minister said, well, we are there because that. He said, are they doing right by you? Are they doing well by you? Are you satisfied with? He said, Prime Minister said yes. He said, well, stay with them. So you can see in agriculture, we have done well. In jobs, you realize that the SET program, they started off with the YES program. We have over 500 young people who are benefited by the YES program. Then when Venezuela stopped funding the SET program, they took it over. Now they have the on-site program. And I was very impressed with the last program. They have empowerment of women, that women could be trained here in order to provide for themselves and be little businessmen. In health, there is no aspect in our economy that Taiwan has not contributed. And if the Prime Minister would say we have our loans, we have $700 million from Taiwan. Our international airport, our new seaport down there, it's Taiwan. I don't know how any political group could say that if they get in power, they would kick Taiwan out of St. Vincent. It would be the height of ingratitude, because no one single country has done as much for St. Vincent as Taiwan. Of course, we've had the European Union as a group that has given a lot to St. Vincent. And we are grateful for the tremendous help that we have gotten from Venezuela and Cuba. But up to a certain point, it was Taiwan that was the leading country in providing every aspect of our development here. And if we have improved somewhat in our development sector in educating our people, Taiwan has educated about 269 students from St. Vincent who have gone there on scholarship. And I believe recently we sent out 34 students there. And they are going into university. And it's just heartening to go there and hear them talk Mandarin. And they're coming back here and talk Mandarin. So the relationship has been a very beneficial, a very profitable one. The first learning resource centers we had here, well, all the learning resource centers are from Taiwan. And I happen to have 2 in my constituency. The Prime Minister probably has 3 or 4. He usually gets a giant share. But throughout the country, we have this kind of thing. And we are very, very satisfied and pleased with that relationship, because in time of adversity, time of prosperity, Taiwan is always there, and we are grateful for what they have done to help the development of St. Vincent.
Is it a one-sided or lopsided relationship?
No, it's not one-sided in the sense that we are always receiving, and we don't have the material wealth or material things to give to Taiwan. But we have been advocating, and that's what Taiwan needs, for Taiwan, first of all, to become a member of the United Nations, or more lately, to its agencies, its specialized agency, the World Health Organization, World Trade Organization. Wherever we go, we are the voice of Taiwan, because Taiwan cannot speak in many of these organizations because they are dominated by mainland China, and some people only recognize the one China policy, and therefore they recognize mainland China, and they are afraid to speak on behalf of Taiwan. But we have been saying for years now that we would like Taiwan, a country of 23 million people. We cannot keep them out because they have done well by themselves. 21st country in terms of trade in the world. And therefore, wherever we go, whatever we can do, we try to make sure that we are the voice for Taiwan, and they're grateful for that too.
Yes. Okay. I'm getting the signal, Ambassador. So when we come back, we'll take you. Okay. Back in just a moment.
Okay.
Thinking of winning the Lotto jackpot? Well, there is an easy way. Combo Play. Choose 4 numbers from 1 to 36. That's a combo 4 at a cost of $64. Match any 4 of the 5 numbers and win the Lotto jackpot. There's Combo 6, where you purchase 6 numbers for only $12. Match any 5 of the 6 Lotto numbers and hit the jackpot. How about Combo 7? That's a purchase of 7 Lotto numbers for $42. Match any 5 of the 7 numbers and you will win the jackpot. There are also Combo 3, Combo 8, and Combo 9 Lotto plays. Visit the NLA headquarters in Pauls Avenue or WhatsApp 495-6886 for more details. Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Welcome back. Before we took the break, Ambassador Bowman was about to make an intervention as a follow-up to Sir Louis' comments, and then we'd hear from...
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to respond to your question about the lopsided nature of the relationship. And I must say, we, St. Vincent the Grenadines, we have attached our sovereignty to Taiwan's sovereignty, in the sense that we recognize Taiwan, the ROC Taiwan, as a sovereign nation. And to me, that is fundamental. That is significant. Okay? Recognition, recognizing Taiwan as a sovereign nation is extremely important to the being of this country, to the integrity of this country. And St. Vincent the Grenadines has attached its own sovereignty to Taiwan's sovereignty, saying, we see you as a country. And this is what most other countries in the world have not done. So this is what we bring to that relationship on the most fundamental basis.
Okay, Dr. Denny?
Well, I agree with the Deputy Prime Minister and the Ambassador. There's really nothing more important to a country than its sovereignty, and Taiwan is clearly in a immense struggle, to hold on to the principle of self-determination with its neighbor, as huge neighbor behemoth that is seeking to deny that. And so, in that sense, the exchange between St. Vincent and Taiwan is in the same way that we are pursuing our best interests. The protection of their sovereignty is their best interest, and we have been right at their side, in defense of that. What I would also want to say, though, and because the Deputy Prime Minister made a point about the airport, and it seems to me that we should consider that that Vincentian diplomacy, the Vincentian diplomatic history, has its own kind of imagination, and so for me, I'm remembering when I landed on the airport the first time when the airport opened, and so on, and then I listened to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister said, and I've been listening to the Prime Minister for a very long time, actually since 1979, and I used to remember something he said then that was really quite, I liked it quite a bit, but he topped it at the airport, because in speaking about the airport, he said, if you go to international lenders, the traditional lenders, and you tell them you want them to build a school, they could do that. If you tell them you need a hospital, they could do that. If you tell them you need a sewage plant, they could do that. But if you tell them you have to liquid 3 mountains, move a church, move a cemetery, do all of these kind of things, they can't do that. Well, Taiwan helped to do that. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. Okay, and so for me, the airport constitutes one of the most powerful diplomatic victory across the entire Caribbean. I mean, when we had these massive conversations in St. Vincent about the economics of having an airport and so on, I mean, I listened to that conversation, but I was utterly unmoved, because to me, the far more important thing about getting that airport was that very idea of sovereignty, the capacity of Vincentians to control our borders, to enter and leave at will, rather than be waiting on friends of ours, Barbados, Jamaican, Trinidadians, friends of ours nevertheless, but friends who had some control over when we move in and out of St. Vincent. And so, obviously it was enormously expensive, and clearly we needed, aid, to do that. But Taiwan stood there with us. And it was a diplomatic victory that involved not just Taiwan, of course, because as I said, it's about the imagination of St. Vincent. I think the Prime Minister called it the coalition of the willing?
Yes.
Or something to that effect.
Yes.
So we had, other countries which stepped in. And so St. Vincent's conception of its sovereignty, St. Vincent's conception of its diplomatic autonomy, the capacity to act in the best interest of St. Vincent, had to be transformed, from 1979 to 2023. In 1979, with due respect, with all due respect to, Prime Minister Keto, and of course, those who would follow him, they were operating on a different kind of, political and ideological considerations, and even a different intellectual kind of plane as to how we make sense of what we do with that independence, and so on. What we see with this, with the European government over the last, over the last 20 plus years, and Mitchell could obviously be given some credit in this regard, is an expansion of the realm of friends, and that we're prepared to engage. And so what I like about Taiwan, actually, in some regards, is that St. Vincent is very good friends with Taiwan. Okay, and Taiwan depends, entirely for its defense on the United States as a check to, to China. But by the same token, St. Vincent, likes the United States, but where we differ as well. And so St. Vincent, maintains, as I say, that kind of individual autonomy to determine what is in the best interest of the country, even if sometimes it doesn't always align itself with all of our friends. Because, a country ultimately, outlives an individual. If we are fortunate, we live for 75 years as individuals. Maybe we get to 80, 90. But our country, we hope, and can extend itself for another 1,000 years. And in this instance, we always have to seek the best interests of our country. And so to the original question as to, where St. Vincent stands in relation to to Taiwan and the reciprocity of that relationship, I would say that we see two things. We see St. Vincent offering Taiwan something that is simply, non-negotiable as far as Taiwan is concerned, its sovereignty. But simultaneously, we see St. Vincent's capacity to act in many ways beyond Taiwan in the advance of St. Vincent's best interests.
Thank you. And I know Burns wanted to make an intervention.
But I just wanted to make the point that so Louis mentioned it, but when you had the one China policy came in, because remember Taiwan was there before.
Nixon brought him over.
Nixon went to China and came back and said the one China policy, which is what these guys imitating now. So Taiwan lost its leverage, so to speak, in the institutions that make up the United Nations. And we have never stopped banging at the door to bring Taiwan in. And we continue to do it regardless of what. And the very countries that don't want to change the one China policy, they are functioning in those countries in similar ways that they function here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You know, and so the point is that the Professor Denny made the point, you know, they look at their interests. But we in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have demonstrated to all and sundry that we stand in principle. The foreign minister, former foreign minister, the prime minister, say, listen, you said, for example, our ambassador in Taiwan, they have arrangements under which you operate, you know. They have certain protocols which are for you. You have the Vienna Convention telling you how you treat the diplomats that come to your country, what immunities they have, what you're supposed to do. So we have to do the same thing. We have to reciprocate. When they send somebody here, they fall under that. The Vienna Convention tell you how you treat your consul people, how you treat the people in the embassies, and so on and so forth. And all the countries of the world that are independent countries, they have to subscribe to that. So, and you have to provide them with what is required under the convention. Now, in our case in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we had to join forces initially with other countries because we couldn't afford to have embassies and representation all in Europe, all over the place. And luckily for us, that we have had persons in the diplomatic field in the region. We headed up the ACP countries. We had our former Secretary General of CARICOM going to ACP. You know, we have had a Vincentian lady. She was married to a Jamaican, but she's from here. Her father used to be the inspector of schools, Anchovies. And she was heading UNESCO, which is a United Nations, but she's Vincentian. You know, I remember the girls' high school, I think, honored her when they celebrated.
Dr. Peggy Anchovies?
No, no,
No?
not Peggy, no. Peggy was married to Anchovies,
Okay,
but she was Anchovies' daughter.
okay.
She was married to a very famous Jamaican. I can't remember his name right now. But even in farming here, but we can't forget Rabaka,
The bridge.
that bridge, the importance of that to the nation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has transformed our country.
An indelible mark, yeah.
So, and that is why we have to, well, Sir Louis is here, and he had to at times do it, the Prime Minister, that if you're not going to pretend, this Taiwan must be involved in this, you have to go out there, you have to say it. And I recall that at one time just the saints in the Caribbean had relations with Taiwan. And
St. Kitts, St.
yes,
Lucia,
the saints.
and the Grenadines.
And what happened was that in St. Lucia, the fellows decided, nah, we're going with the. And when Sir John got back in, you remember?
Yes. Odlum was the foreign minister.
John said, oh, you're crazy or what? You understand? But then they put
have
in
more?
one
No, they have it's Taiwan alone.
Taiwan alone.
Yes.
Okay.
you understand?
Negotiations to Taiwan alone.
So he said, no.
They broke the relationship with mainland and came back to Taiwan.
Okay.
You see,
So this
so
is a recent.
No, that has been for a while now.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that
that
came
was when
into-
John he came back, he really right to them. You understand? But then you have to look, even under the old Labour Party, you have to understand the Labour Party the leadership of the Labour Party, the leadership at Guyana, the leadership in Barbados, they came out together out of Britain. They belong to the Fabian Society people. They were all members of Socialist International. Willy Brandt in Germany was a member. You understand? So I remember attending Socialist International meeting in Vancouver, but not as a politician, as a trade unionist.
We'll take our final break and we'll pick you back up when we come back. When we come back, I also want to talk about SBG is known to court non-traditional allies. Yeah, we have different friends, and I would like to talk a little bit about how this approach has worked either for or against us. We'll be right back.
You can increase your chances of winning the Super 6 jackpot with a combo play. Remember, Super 6 numbers are from 1 to 28. Choose any 5 Super 6 numbers. That's a combo 5 for $69. Match any 5 of the 6 numbers and you will win the jackpot. Choose 7 Super 6 numbers for $21. Match any 6 of the 7 numbers and win the jackpot. There's more. Combo 8, where you purchase 8 Super 6 numbers for $84. Match any 6 of the 8 numbers and you will win the jackpot. There are also Combo 3 and Combo 4 Super 6 plays. Visit the NLA headquarters in Pauls Avenue or WhatsApp 495-6886 for more details. Super 6, bigger jackpots, more chances to win.
When we took the break, I said one of the things we want to talk about when we come back is that we are known for embracing non-traditional allies. Has this approach worked for or against us? And started with the foreign minister, former foreign minister.
Well, it has worked tremendously. While we were talking about the international airport, this is a lesson in diplomacy. You have to realize that we had to bring together a socialist country, Venezuela, a communist country, Cuba. We got aid from Libya, Gaddafi. We got from Trinidad, and we got from non-democratic countries. All these countries, it's through our diplomatic effort. Because when some people say where they would find the money to build an airport in St. Vincent, the Prime Minister said, I have it in my head. And we had to work, had to know how to maneuver our way between a communist country and a democratic country like Taiwan. How do you bring them without causing friction? And this is truly a great lesson in diplomacy, how you can work with countries with different ideology in order to benefit your country. We embraced Hugo Chavez and Venezuela. We must remember that they have contributed greatly to our economy. One of the first countries that offer us debt forgiveness was Britain, about 12 million pounds. It's a small amount. But I remember the previous administration tried, but they couldn't get it. But when we ask, we have got a lot of heavy debt forgiveness from Venezuela. And had it not been for Venezuela, the airport probably would not have been there. You recall when they sent all the heavy equipment and they paraded from Kingstown out there? When Hugo Chavez came here, he asked, you fellas could not find any area in St. Vincent where we can build an airport that has flat lands? When you look at the mountains we had to blow down and remove the churches, he thought it was such a great challenge to do that. So we embraced.
I don't want to cut you, but
yes.
You can't miss out this part.
Yes.
He looked at the Prime Minister, he said, you're loco. You remember that?
Yes,
That's what he told the Prime Minister.
Yes.
He said, you're loco.
That in Africa, we have extended diplomatic relations throughout Africa because of the unity of the people of Africa and us in the Caribbean. That's our motherland. We are the sixth area in Africa. And we have done well even with the non-black African country. Morocco has been of tremendous help to our farmers. Last year they gave us over 3,000 sacks of fertilizer to give to the farmers. And this year we got more. We've had scholarships. We have help in nursing and agriculture and various areas we have from Morocco because of the relationship that we have established there with them. We have had non-traditional friends who have come in here because of our diplomatic relationship and the way we are able to handle ourselves with them. So it has all been beneficial to our country. When you look at the scholarship, we have students all over the world. Russia, Azerbaijan, Mexico, India, Japan, all over the world we have Vincentians studying because of our diplomatic relationship with these countries, and we ask for scholarship to help our students. We realize that once our students acquire an education, if even we can't employ them here, they can go throughout the Caribbean or throughout the world and find jobs. You can't take it out of their brains what you put in there. So our non-traditional allies have been very beneficial. We have been very strategic in our approach towards various countries as to how they can help develop our economy here, because we are a developing country, and we need all the help that we can get.
Dr. Denny, your take?
I think it's an interesting kind of construct of that. We have a country of 110,000 people, and our interest obviously is to do the very best we can for each and every single Vincentian. And it occurred to me as I'm listening to the Deputy Prime Minister that St. Vincent really worked out a marvelous solution. That if in fact we have these relationships with countries which combine together, the rest of the world is 8 billion people, but we only have 100,000. It means that when we make certain requests of them, it may be big for us, but not too big for them. And so that means that they can actually, extend this hand to us. The Prime Minister mentioned to me a couple of years ago also that Iran was also helpful in helping to build the airport, giving us assistance. So you have 200 plus countries in the world. Some of them have huge economies, and we have 100,000 people. So if we are strategic, we negotiate those relationships, we can indeed have a wonderful outcome. So I think that that is precisely what the government has done, and what the Deputy Prime Minister has demonstrated, that we have been able to navigate the global community in a way that advances the interests of Vincentians. And I think it's because we have 100,000 plus people, and we asking for help and assistance, and reciprocities, of course, from 8 billion people. That doesn't always have to be hard. So I think we've been very, very good at that.
Ambassador?
I agree, yes. And this too is sometimes why we hear the cry that we could get more. We can get more. Okay, that is true. We could get more. But I am also wanting to think that our integrity, how we stand in the world. Yes, we have been accused, and Vincent the Grenadines has been accused of begging and that kind of thing and so on. But we have to recognize that we stand for something. We are a principled, pragmatic country. We are respected. How do I know that St. Vincent the Grenadines is respected? Look at what took place at the vote for the Security Council. We were voted onto the Security Council by a range of different countries. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines' stance, our foreign policy stance, is very, very well known. Yet, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was voted on to the Security Council on the basis of our delectable chocolate, I keep saying, and the fact that we stand for something. We are significant on the world stage. I am not going to blink to say that. We may be small, but our voice is loud and it is heard, and most importantly, it is respected. Okay?
And I didn't want to end without talking about that very significant milestone. I mean, 44 years, 43 years down the road, St. Vincent and the Grenadines earned a non-permanent seat on the United Nations. So I'm going to end the program on the significance of this and what kind of future that this will foster for the country in terms of its foreign affairs outlook.
Well, we have been the smallest country in the history of the United Nations to be voted as a member of the Security Council. And that was a vote by 186, I believe, to about 6 for El Salvador. When you sit at the Security Council, you have a high profile, and you can network with countries that probably can't even find the little dot on the map that says St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When you have leaders who can speak on behalf of St. Vincent, and we have been very fortunate in having at the United Nations very capable people. We had Camilo Diaz first, and now we have Rhonda King. And the Prime Minister has gone up on every occasion when we were a member of the Security Council in order to address the Security Council. People sit back and listen. And when your leader can project an image that this is an intelligent leader you have there, even though it's a small country, it opens the eyes of people elsewhere to see that they can respond positively to our requests to what we need. So there are economic benefits. It's like a ripple effect that comes around that people can say, well, this is a country that I can help. And by getting the help, even to build the international airport prior to that, we can see the economic benefit coming in by investment in the various hotels and investment in tourism, because tourism is the way of the future for our economy. And we are very fortunate by sitting on the Security Council. Not only that, we were the president of the UNESCO at one time. Rhonda was president. We are still a member. And the president of the fifth committee of the United Nations that deals with budgeting and administration, and president of the decolonization committee. So we are really punching above our weight. And it brings benefit in that countries around the world can learn of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They don't have to ask again, who is that? And when we ask for help, we are right there that they can say, well, this is a respectable country with respectable leaders, and they would respond to our requests. So even on now and beyond now, we are going to have a name, a recognition, and a respect throughout the world that St. Vincent is a country that needs help, and we can depend upon it, a democratic country, a country that is for law and order, a country that respects human rights, and therefore they would want to deal with St. Vincent. And thank God for those who have carried on our diplomatic relations abroad.
Denny, 22 seconds.
Well, I think that our seat on the UN Security Council also points to the fact that is a recognition that we are alert to the global community. We are part of the global conscience, and we have the capacity to navigate what should be, the moral platforms upon which nations, live their lives. So in that sense, St. Vincent, and Vincentians, by being acknowledged as really not simply peripheral to the world, but a central part of the world community.
Thank you. I think that's
May I have 10 seconds, please? Just
okay,
10 seconds.
Okay, 10.
I just want to wrap up there by saying our little St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 2021 here in Taiwan received the award for being the most outstanding foreign embassy and foreign mission in Taiwan. And I think that says something. At that time, our embassy was only 2 years old, but we were the most outstanding.
Thank you,
That's
Andre.
Excellent.
Congratulations indeed.
I'm so proud of my two former classmates, Dr. Denny and Ambassador Bowman. And I was lucky to get them both on the same program. Thank you, guys. That's our program for today, from independence to diplomacy. Talking with me today on this very important topic was the former Minister of Foreign Affairs and also former Deputy Prime Minister, Sir Louis Straker. We also have former and veteran diplomat J. Burns Bonady. We had the current ambassador to Taiwan, Ambassador Andrea Bowman, and of course we had one of our resident guests on the program, Dr. Anthony Denny. Happy Independence, everyone.
Anthony?
Dr. Michael Denny. Did I say Anthony?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? Michael, Grubby, I'm
I gotta
sorry.
chill the family.
But it is what it is. It's independence. Thank you, everybody, and happy Independence.
All right.
And we'll
Good
see
night,
you again
everyone.
next week, Wednesday.
All right.
Happy anniversary to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Lord.